Hey guys, welcome back to Southern Gal True Crime. It's Wednesday. I hope everybody's had a good week so far. Today I have a very special video. I'm excited about this. Recently, one of our cold cases here in Arkansas has been solved. And it always makes me so happy to be able to bring a happy story, a solved case. Usually I share the unsolved cases, but those are just as important because they need to be solved too. So I'm going to bring you in this information about this. Sorry, I was trying to multitask. About this solved case, and it is a 32-year-old solved case, a case that was solved or it was announced just recently that it had been solved. So we will get into it. Get my slides working. So we will get into it, but first we have our featured missing person, and this information comes from the Morgan Nick Foundation Facebook page, and I will put a link to the post in the description box. Michael Lee Williams. Now, he went missing from Searcy, Arkansas on September 1st of 2021. So almost 2 years ago, he went missing. He current age would be 32 years old. He's 6'1", 192 pounds. A white male. He has a blonde or strawberry blonde hair, and brown eyes. And he, like I said, he went missing from Searcy. So it's like I said, almost 2 years old. So we really need to get this information out to help find this gentleman. So if you have any information, you can contact the White County Sheriff's Office at 501-279-6279. So please, I implore you, please share this anywhere and where you can, friends, family, any true crime groups or any social media groups you're in, to help spread the word and try to find this gentleman. All right. One more bit of business to take care of before we get into our case. Last week I created the Southern Gal True Crime Facebook group. Now I had originally had just a page, but it wasn't doing a whole lot. But I thought I like the forum of groups. You can have more interaction, more discussions. So I encourage you, if you and I do post stuff in the group that I do not put on YouTube, so you'll be getting new stuff that you don't see here. So I encourage you, please go join it. It is a private group, so that way if you don't want anybody to know that you're in the group, nobody and in a private Facebook groups, nobody that's not in the group can see anything that anybody posts. I just like to have private groups to keep the trolls out and the troublemakers out. Anyway, so I'll put a link to the group in the description box as always, and we'll try to remember to pin it the link to the top of the comment section to make it easier to find. All right. Now we will get into our case. So this is the case of Sabrina Underwood. And I mean, this occurred in Boone County, Arkansas in 1991. So I'm not good at doing my math. 1991 to 2003. Well, 32 years is what it was. 32 years ago. So it's another very old cold case that has been solved. And like I said, that always brings joy to my heart when I come across a case that has been solved. So 32 years after Sabrina Underwood's remains were found by hunters in Arkansas, a man has been charged with her killing. And this article is from October of this year. So it was actually a tip from an inmate that subsequently led to this offender confessing to this crime. He was already in prison. I forgot what he was in prison. Oh, no, I do know what he's in prison for, but we will get to that. So usually when I bring you these cases that are solved, it's either usually by genetic genealogy or by some kind of DNA processing that they find, but this is actually from a confession, which is very, or I say it's very unusual. It may be more common than I think, but and no matter how it was solved, that's the most important thing, is that it was solved. So just a little bit of backstory about her case. So Sabrina Lynn Underwood, she disappeared in January of 1991. She was only 19 years old when she disappeared. She was from Huntsville, Arkansas, and she had a hitchhike to Izard County, which was 120 miles away. And I cannot imagine it. And even, I mean, today I would highly discourage hitchhiking. But even back in the 90s, I just, when I hear of somebody hitchhiking, I know back in the 60s, hitchhiking was very common. People would just jump in the car with anybody and go to wherever they were going to. But even back then, it was dangerous. But anyway, I highly discourage hitchhiking. It just scares me to death when I see something like that, especially 120 miles away. So the reason for this hitchhiking trip, she was supposedly going to meet a man at Calico State Prison. And this was according to media reports. I don't know if this was a friend, a boyfriend, or what the case may be. But anyway, she was going to see this man at the state prison. She was never seen again. Apparently, from what I understand, she did not make it to the prison where her destination. Can't talk. Her destination. So my theory would be, well, I don't have a theory, because it actually, in his confession, he tells what allegedly happened, his version of what happens. But we'll get to that. So 90 days later, Sabrina's partial remains were found near Viola, which is in Fulton County, Arkansas. She was identified by her clothing, jewelry, a notebook with some phone numbers in it, a hair sample that matched a lock of hair that investigators had taken from her home, assumingly when they were doing the initial investigation after she disappeared. The bones were found, her hip bones were found, and it showed at the time before they got her identified, it showed that she had given birth, according to investigators. And Sabrina had a child at around 14 or 15. A search for her skull was done, as it appeared, trigger warning, as it appeared that she had been decapitated, according to information that was given by a family member. So I'm assuming that was never released to the public. So a little bit about her. She was born on August 29th, 1971. She passed away on January 20th, 1991, only 19 years old. And now, like I said, she had given birth at 14 or 15, so she left behind a young son. And there on the picture there on the left is Sabrina and her young son. So it breaks my heart. And once again, like I said, all these cases that I bring to you, especially ones that come from my home state of Arkansas, just touched me so deeply. And just sad to think about that this little boy had to grow up without his mother. Unknown where he is now. I can't remember. It might be in the slides. If a family member took him to take care of him, to raise him after she passed away, unknown. But hopefully he had other loving family members that took him and raised him, and told him about his mother. I'm going to stop now before I start getting emotional. So a little bit of a timeline. So Sabrina's mother, Loretta, last saw Sabrina on January 20th, 1991. So Sabrina's mother actually dropped her off at the intersection of US 412 and US 62, which was near Bear Creek Springs in Boone County. So apparently her mother drove her part of the way to drop her off at this intersection, and she was going to hitchhike the rest of the way. Um, like I said, that just scares me to death and horrifies me, this hitchhiking. But um, so Sabrina had planned to hitchhike about 70 miles. Well, this is 70 miles. So I guess that's subtracted from the amount of miles that her mother drove her to and dropped her off. Um, so I guess it's about 50 miles. If I'm doing my math correct, about 50 miles that her mother drove her to this intersection and dropped her off. So she hitchhiked about 70 miles east to Iser County, where her says her boyfriend was jailed at the North Central Unit in the Calico Rock, and this was in a newspaper report. So her remains, some bones, a hair, a pair of panties, and an earring stud were found months later, on April 8th of 1991 by a hunter near the Gum Springs Cemetery, which is northeast of Little Rock. And anybody, if you're not from Arkansas, Little Rock is kind of, it's the state capital, is kind of in the center of the state. So it would be, Gum Springs would be, can't see, north, I'm going the wrong way, my camera's northeast of Little Rock. And this is according to an affidavit. Investigators, they worked the case, conducted interviews, developed leads to possible suspects, but no arrests were made, and the case went cold, unfortunately, until July 2022, when officials got this tip. So apparently a local attorney had a client with information on a possible suspect. So I'm assuming the attorney called the police or whoever and said, "Hey, look, I've got this client. It's got some information that you would most definitely be interested in." And so the client, person in question, was incarcerated in an Arkansas State prison. It doesn't say which one. And it was Rick Allen Headley. So according to this inmate that gave this tip to his lawyer, he said allegedly that Headley had given him, the other inmate, a confession letter detailing the crime, and this is according to the affidavit. So armed with that confession letter, detectives interviewed Mr. Headley at the prison. And this is what he had to say. Now, I would hope that he was telling the truth, but we know that offenders sometimes don't tell the truth. But so take it with a grain of salt. But so when they showed him a picture of Sabrina and asked him if he knew who she was, Headley said the photograph was of Sabrina Underwood, and stated that he did write the confession letter that he had shown or given to this other inmate regarding the crime of Sabrina Underwood. He told investigators, now this is his version, so could be true, could be not true, but this is the only information we have to go off of. So according to him, Sabrina had approached him at a gas station and asked if he would give her a ride. And any information, the articles I looked at, I could not find where the location of the gas station was, but regardless, he agreed to give her a ride. So according to Headley, he said that Sabrina said that she did not have money to pay for gas, and he told her he wasn't worried about gas money, allegedly said. So according to him, once again, Sabrina began to make sexual advances in his truck and offered to, quote, take care of him another way, since she didn't have gas money. So of course he agreed. So according to him, he pulled into a small cemetery, which was the Gum Springs Cemetery, which is pictured in the picture there on the slide. He parked. They had relations. Afterward, as he finished getting dressed, he said that allegedly Sabrina told him that she needed a couple of $100 or, quote, she was going to tell everyone that he hurt her. Now, once again, this is his version. Unfortunately, Sabrina is not around to give her version. So, like I said, a grain of salt. But like I said, this is the only information we have to go off of. So he also stated that, quote, he was shocked and he knew right then and there that there was going to be problems. And this is once again what he said in the affidavit. So, right there when he said that something very bad was going to take place, and it did. So, he went on to say that he attacked Sabrina outside the truck. He dragged her through the cemetery into a wooded area, far enough to where, quote, no person could see what was about to happen. And that just sent chills up my spine when I read that. So once again, trigger warning. I'm going to try to keep it as non-graphic as I can, but even it's still disturbing. So just trigger warning. According to him, he said that he snapped and he used a Rambo style knife with a compass on the end to cut through her neck. He used, and I hate to even read this out loud, so forgive me. Once again, major trigger warnings. He used a rock to hammer on the knife blade until, quote, it busted the bone off. So I'm assuming it would mean the neck area. So this gentleman, I don't even call him a gentleman, this person is very, very bad man. He allegedly said that he beheaded her, quote, so there would be no chance she would ever be able to tell on him. So after that, he covered her body with sticks and leaves. He gathered all her belongings and threw them beside the body, underneath with the sticks and leaves, and just left her there. This is just a horrifying case. So after he did the deed, did the crime, hid the body, he allegedly took the knife and the rock, got back in his truck, and drove toward Mountain Home. You've seen Mountain Home. It's a very north central part of Arkansas, very close to the Missouri line. So I don't know how far it was, because Gum Springs will be, if you see on the picture there in the middle, Little Rock. If you follow that line up to Mountain Home, Gum Springs is, or the place where it committed the crime, is probably about halfway between Little Rock and Mountain Home. I don't know how far that is in miles. But anyway, so he was driving back toward Mountain Home, and several miles away, probably somewhere in between Gum Springs and Mountain Home, he stopped and he threw the knife and the rock out of his truck into a patch of woods. Unknown if they ever recovered the rock or the knife. Probably, I would assume, this is just my assumption, that they wouldn't be able to find it after so many years had passed. So at his apartment in Mountain Home, he removed his clothes, put them in a trash bag. He took a shower to clean all the blood off. He then took the trash bag to a dumpster behind a mall, and threw it away and left the area. So he got rid of the evidence. Once again, unknown if they ever recovered that evidence. I would most assuredly assume that they did not recover that evidence, because if it was put in a dumpster, dumpsters are emptied on a daily or weekly basis. So 32 years, most definitely, it's probably in a landfill somewhere. All right. So this is just chilling to me. He told the investigators that he remembered Sabrina's name because, quote, "you never forget the person if you've ever killed someone." Well, I would hope so, that if you committed that atrocious act, that you would at least have the, I don't want to say sensitivity or empathy, but I would hope that you would remember the name of the person that you violently took the life of. But so he also said that over the years that he had hoped nobody else was arrested in the case because, quote, "he is the one who killed Underwood." So he either did have empathy or was faking it and saying that, I don't want any. I was hoping nobody else was arrested for the crime that I committed. Take it with a grain of salt. Once again, we know how these offenders operate, how their mind operates. So in any case, um, so the reason that he was in prison, in the first place, um, so let me backtrack. So on October 17th of 2023, the Arkansas State Police charged Rick Headley. He was already in prison with the first degree in the 1991 death of 19-year-old Sabrina Underwood. And he had been, and I can't remember if I put it in. Yeah, I did. Okay. Oh, wrong way. Um, According to a statement given by the Arkansas State Police Colonel Mike Hagar, he said, Sabrina's family still suffers from the pain of her absence, but we hope that this week's arrest will provide them with some comfort and long sought answers. We will never give up on finding justice for family like the Underwoods." Absolutely. I appreciate this Colonel Mike Hagar. He obviously cared about Sabrina's case and finding answers for her and her family, and cares about all the families um, that he helps investigate. So just God bless him for that, and all the other law enforcement investigators that work on these cases, especially these cold cases, and try to help bring a conclusion to them and bring answers to the families. So back to Mr. Headley. So he was in prison serving a life sentence without the possibility of parole after he pled guilty to capital M for the March 2018 death of his estranged wife, Kirsty Headley, in Mountain Home. So this was not his first time taking the life of a woman. Um, and I'm just going to theorize here. My belief would be that he possibly, I don't know for sure, this is just my opinion, my assumption, my theorizing, possibly could have other victims. Because if we know for sure that he stabbed to death his estranged wife in 2018, all the way back in 1991, he had brutally took the life of Sabrina Underwood. So to me, that shows very violent tendencies, psychopathy. So I would not be surprised if he had other victims. And I'm sure, most likely, after he confessed to Sabrina's crime, that hopefully they went back and looked at any other unsolved crimes in that area, the Mountain Home area, Gum Springs area, for other possible unsolved crimes that maybe have been similar to this crime, to Sabrina's crime. But I would love to hear your guys' comments. What you think? Do you think that Headley, this gentleman, or this person, this monster could be a serial offender. Let me know in the comments. Like I said, my opinion is possibly, there's a good possibility, in my opinion, that he could be, he has other victims and a possible unidentified, unknown serial offender. So he is, for Sabrina's case, he is set to appear in Fulton County Circuit Court on November 13th of this year. So in about less than let's see, I don't even know what today is. About a month from now, he is set to appear in court, and I will keep up with this case. And when he does appear in court, if any other new information comes out, I will do a follow-up video to let you guys know this information. So, of course, the most important part of this case, Sabrina Lynn Underwood, the victim. Like I said, she was born October 29th, 71. And she disappeared and was killed on January 20th, 1991, at just 19 years old. She left behind one young son. Like I said, I will do a little bit of research and see if I can find out what happened to her son. Like I said, hopefully he had family members who took him in and raised him and loved him and cared for him, and showed him pictures of his mother and told him about his mother, because obviously in that picture he was very young. So unfortunately he probably does not have a lot of memories about his mother, and that just breaks my heart. So God bless Sabrina, her family, her child. God bless all the investigators who worked on this case and got it solved. All right, I think that is all that I have for you. Like I said, I just want to bring you this bittersweet, happy conclusion to a cold case. Usually, it's cold cases I bring have not been solved, but that's the reason I bring them to you, is to help get the word out about these victims so they're never forgotten, and hopefully at some point their cases will be solved. But this was a happy ending, a solved case. All right, so today's Wednesday. So Friday I will be back with my true crime case of the week. I don't even think I haven't got it planned yet what case I'm going to do, but I will get it figured out and get it recorded and uploaded Friday. So I know I'm forgetting something. Like I said, go check out the Southern Gal True Crime Facebook group, and please join. We can have lots of good civilized discussions there. And like I said, I also post things on there that I do not put on YouTube, so you get some new stuff that you haven't seen. So until then, until Friday, please take care of yourselves, take care of each other, take care of your human beings, fellow human beings, so we can all make it through this life safely. Thanks again for watching. It's very much appreciated, and I will see you Friday. Bye-bye.